lovelies, how's it going? So if you've been with the channel for a while, you may have noticed that I haven't been on another Draw Stuff Outside adventure for a while. The creative critters have been waiting very patiently to be collected again. If you're new to the channel, this is my own prompt book that I brought out in the summer, and it's all about getting outdoors, going on adventures, and making art from the world that we see around us. It has also been half term here, and I've been off with the kids, so it was the perfect opportunity for me and the kids to visit our local zoo and take the prompt book along with us, as quite a few of these prompts are animal related. But confession time, I didn't actually manage to get a whole lot of art done while I was there. If any of you guys are parents as well, you may know that you can't really take your eyes off them for very long. But I did manage to gather lots of footage that I could work from in the shed later. And that is always an option with this book. If you don't have much time, or the weather's not great, or you just can't get out for any reason, there's absolutely no pressure here. The main thing is to simply step out of our heads for a moment and be present with the big wide world around us in whatever way we can. So without further ado, how do you actually say that? It's A-D-O, ado, without any further ado. What is so weird? Just roll the footage. Okay, so the first creative critter that I think we've absolutely got to collect this week is Blaze, as his prompt is study an animal's personality and draw a caricature of it here. And we definitely did see some characterful animals. Now, while I have drawn loads of cartoon animals, I haven't drawn that many based on an actual animal's personality. They've more been from imagination. The only time that I can actually think of where I have done this was when I took the Create This book to a kitty cafe and did some quick 30-second sketches of the cats there. Then when I got back to the art shed, I tidied them up and coloured them in, but I wasn't actually intending to draw them as cartoons. I think the 30-second time limit just kind of made them that way. So I'm not really that sure where to begin. However, a few months ago, I worked through this book, The Art of Animal Drawing by Ken Hultgren. He worked for Disney in the 1940s on movies like Bambi and Snow White, and I worked through quite a few of these more realistic pages, but he has loads of pages in here demonstrating how to draw each animal as a caricature. So we've got cows there, giraffes, camels, pigs, dogs, foxes, rabbits, elephants. So I'm going to work through a few of these to see how a pro would tackle this. And then hopefully that will boost my confidence to try and give it a go myself. Or it might do the opposite. I guess we'll find out. Okay, so here are my 3 caricature studies. I chose to go with the lion, elephant and camel. I did find that there was less instructional steps. You kind of just get the finished drawing as opposed to a more broken down step-by-step guide that you get with the more realistic drawing style. But there are explanations as to why he made the line choices that he made. These drawings are definitely a lot less anatomically correct. Shapes and details are really over-exaggerated and emphasized. So the camel is really droopy and so knobbly kneed that its legs are actually getting all twisted up. The lion's mouth is probably about 10 times bigger than it would be, and the elephant is so heavy it really looks like it's fighting the effects of gravity there. So it seems to be really about studying the animal really closely and looking out for any elements that can be exaggerated. Now, it doesn't have to be in this style because, as you can see here, he's drawn these elephants in all different styles, but the same principles apply of just exaggerating any shapes that you see. So here as well with the giraffe. That is a completely different style, but it's still a caricature. One of my absolute favourite animal artists has got to be Pet Portraits by Hercule. You've probably seen his drawings. He first created them as kind of a joke, just to make people laugh during lockdown, but they actually went kind of viral because he's just so good at honing in on what is funny about a picture and wildly exaggerates it. And he's actually raised over £450,000 for charity through drawing and selling these portraits. So I want to create something that's kind of in between Ken Hultgren style and Hercule style. Now, one of the funniest animals that we saw there, in my opinion, was the giraffe. It was just the way that it wrapped its tongue around that stick. I don't know. It was... So that's what I want to draw first. I haven't really got anything planned. I'm just going to go for it. I think I want to draw this close up. So let's start off by drawing the twig, and then I'm going to draw the giraffe quite zoomed in because I really want to capture its expression. I think if I drew its whole body, we would kind of lose that. I really want to capture that look of delight. I don't know if you can even see this. I do draw very lightly when I'm just sketching out ideas like this. I think it's a confidence issue. Now, I really want to exaggerate the way that the tongue is wrapping around the twig by kind of continuing its twisting a few extra times. Something like that. I'm not really sure how the rest of the head is supposed to look because the giraffe was actually hiding its head behind the pole at this point. So I'm just going to have to reference some different angles and try and figure it out. And then I want the eye to really reflect how much the giraffe is enjoying this stick. I might go a bit bigger, actually. The angles are kind of confusing my brain. I might actually reposition the neck so that it's really kind of leaning and twisting towards the stick. Let's go even bigger with the eye. Let's make it so that it's smiling a little bit more. Oh, and let's add an eyebrow. That always adds a bit of extra expression. Maybe some eyelashes? Nah. I don't know why, but this is totally reminding me of Jar Jar Binks right now. Is that what he's called from Star Wars? Perhaps he was based on a giraffe. Oh, and we can't forget the patterns as well on the fur. Okay, I think that one's about done. Over to this side. I'm going to draw the little Emperor tamarins. I'm not sure how you say that. These are my kids' favourite as well. I've got to say I'm not the biggest fan of monkeys or apes, so this might actually be the first time drawing them. But these guys are almost a little cat or squirrel-like, and the moustaches. I think their moustaches have changed my mind about monkeys. So the funniest moment was definitely the blatant rudeness of one of them straight up stealing from the other, and the way that the other one just kind of accepted it. It was a very relatable moment because I think we've probably all experienced humans just like that at some point in our lives. So I've started off by drawing what they're sat on. So let's just pop some basic blobs for where they're sitting and drawing their tails. And then let's draw some circles roughly where their heads are going to go and some lines where their arms are going to go. The thief monkey is kind of hunched over villainously, if that's a word. And the victim is kind of leaning backwards since he's just had his space kind of rudely invaded. Okay, let's add some expression. I want to give this guy a big grin and some mischievous eyes. Let's not forget that moustache. and he's happily munching on whatever it was that he just stole. I think I might actually make him kind of pushing the other one, even though that didn't actually happen. It just kind of emphasises that he's a bit of a bully because it's all about exaggerating. Right, now on to the other one. I'm not really sure what expression to go with. He looked a little bit kind of shocked, but also like he wasn't going to put up a fight about it. I might change the arm position actually, because he's just had it stolen out of his hands. So let's try and reflect that. I've drawn him sitting a bit low on this stick actually. Oh well, I'll just have to kind of wrap his foot around the side of it. Okay, let's give these guys an outline so you can actually see what I've drawn. And then I think I'm going to colour them in with alcohol markers. Okay, these are all done. I think I definitely could have gone even more extreme with these. They are still a little bit reserved compared to Ken and Hercule's drawings. So this is definitely something that I need to revisit. But I really enjoyed this one. It was actually quite freeing just to be a bit silly, not have a plan, and they did turn out kind of funny. I think the draft probably is my favourite. Okay, who is next? I'm thinking of collecting Morris, the capybara, and his prompt is design a wallpaper pattern based on what you can see. And I'm thinking of creating a pattern of my absolute favourite animal there, the snow leopard. I just want to draw lots of snow leopards in lots of different poses, but I think I'm going to voice over and time lapse this one, as I think I'm going to be spending quite some time on it. So I did actually work out a bit of a layout for the repeating pattern on Photoshop first. This meant I could mark out roughly where each leopard was going to go. Then I worked back into each shape. The biggest problem that I faced here was that since this was a repeating pattern, I needed to draw some of the same leopard designs 4 times. And I soon realised that I am not naturally equipped with the patience to do that. I guess if you were really going to create a pattern this detailed, you would just draw it once and then digitally duplicate it. In hindsight, I should have majorly simplified the design, or perhaps just printed with a leaf or something that we'd found on our adventure. I could have even just done a leopard print with a potato or something. So once I'd got the basic forms down, yes, I did give up adding the spots to the last few. I'll just have to wing those. I went over them all with a fine liner. I tried my best to draw the repeated ones consistently, but they all ended up looking like slightly different characters for some reason. I guess if I scan this, I can just choose my favourite ones to replicate. Weirdly, the one in the middle that's licking its paw only shows 1 time though, so that would be my only option for that one. This took a lot longer than I had anticipated. It doesn't look too bad sped up, but let's see the actual speed that I was working at. Yeah, I was losing my mind a little bit by this point. But finally, all of the leopards were drawn, and next I wanted to just give them a little bit more depth by adding some watercolour just in black and white, as I really wanted it to look like ink. I did use some slightly blue and brown shades, as ink does sometimes have a little variation when it's mixed with water, but I don't actually own any ink because I'm very clumsy and it's very stainy. It's much safer to just replicate it this way. The refillable brush did speed things up a bit, although I was having a bit more difficulty with getting the right paint to water ratio. It's perhaps something you get the hang of the more you use these. And finally, it was done. Even though this one drove me totally crazy, I could literally see leopards every time I closed my eyes for hours afterwards. I'm really glad that I stuck with it, as this is my absolute favourite page so far. I think it would actually make a fairly good wallpaper design, or you could even put it on a scarf or a bag or something. The watercolour did work pretty well and was a much less messy substitute for the ink. I actually almost didn't want to stick this in. I felt like it might have made a good gift for someone in a frame, but it was inspired by Morris, so it belongs in here. But yeah, Morris is now hidden, as I really didn't want to cut a chunk out of this. But not to worry, he's still here on the creative critter list. So let's colour him in and check his box, as well as Blaze of course. That's now 7 critters collected in total, 43 more to go. Who should we collect next? It has been a really fun challenge, practicing drawing animals in a few different ways and collecting some more of those creative critters. If this video inspires you to create something, I would love to see it. You can tag me, or you can find my email address in the channel description. And if you would like to collect some of these critters yourself, you can grab a copy of Draw Stuff Outside on Amazon. I shall pop a link in the description. There's also a whole Draw Stuff Outside playlist. If you want to check that out, I'll put that in the description as well. Thank you so much for watching, my lovelies, and I shall see you next week. See ya!